to Eclipse Theory Games, the podcast where we bring you the latest in gaming news, indie reviews, and everything else under the sun. I am Kendall, and I'm here with one of my co-hosts,
Tony, aka Voice the Hive Mind.
Okay, all right. That was the most genuine laugh you got out of me this whole fucking every episode we've done.
26 episodes.
Voice the Hive Mind is fan. That's a Futurama joke. Goddamn it, that's a good one.
Gotta be.
Yes, sir. And we are also joined for the third episode in a row, man, by Jerz. Welcome back, bro.
Consistency.
Yes, sir. We love it. We love to see it.
Nigga on audio because baby girl tearing up dead cells.
Yeah. I got the princess with me because Mama Bear won't wake up, so I apologize in advance.
Hey, it's all love. Listen, dead
she's
cells
right now.
Dead cells will do
dead cells.
Yeah, that'll distract you for a while.
They'll probably switch to Neon Abyss soon.
I'm not mad. I've been wanting to. Don't get me started. I've been wanting to jump into that for a long time, but
Neon Abyss.
Yeah. That's one of those games where I didn't know anything about it, but I kept seeing the image. Like, you know how back in the day,
the cover.
Yeah, like back in the day, you'll go to the GameStop and like all the little covers are on the wall, and you have no idea what this fucking Oni game is.
All you know is what's on the cover.
Yeah,
it's look cool. Show on the back of the box.
That's Neon Abyss to me, and the name, like that shit just stands out.
Yeah.
But
nah, it's a cool little roguelite or like twin stick shooter. It's in that genre.
Listen,
that's enough for me.
Yeah, I was about to say you say roguelite, I'm in. I'm all the way in. But I will be honest. I would love to talk more about that, but we can't because we have a very, very big episode here today. We've been prepping for it for 2 episodes in a row. This is some of the most legwork we've done at Eclipse Theory so far with the tier list, but we are here for our actual official tournament, as official as it gets, with Eclipse Theory. Official, unofficial tournament, we'll call it that. But we have our full 32 games, our list of greatest games of all time, and we are going to break them down. If you watched last week's episode, you're kind of caught up to how this is going to work. We have a bracket that we're going to kind of go through one by one and vote for who moves on. And if you saw the end of that episode, you noticed that we pretty much just said, fuck it, and threw out the whole structure that we were putting together and just put the bracket in a randomizer. I haven't seen it. Jerz hasn't seen it. I know Tony glanced at it to set it up, but I already know that this shit is about to be chaos. So,
yeah. So I'm the only one that knows what the bracket looks like.
Yeah.
All they know is one game per seed. They know a 1 seed, they know a 2 seed, they know a 3 seed, etc. I tried to make sure that I didn't give them a matchup in the middle of that. So they know 8 games and what their seeds are. That's it. They don't know the matchups. I'm not reading the matchups off beforehand and we get into it. I'm going one by one. So they're reacting to the shit as it happens. As promised, we each have saves. They are oddly enough individualized for all of us. For my save. Oh, actually, before I get into that, we're only saving in the first 3 rounds. Final 4, there are no saves. We ride out with what we got. So you got 3 rounds to use your save or else your game is fucked if it didn't get through. For my save, I have a 25-pound dumbbell here. If I want to save, I hold it up over my head for 1 minute in the first round, 1:10 in the second, 1:15 in the third. If I drop it at all and you see the weight in the frame, even by that little bit right there, I lose my save, I'm fucked. Jerz does not need video for his particular save. He can be on audio. Jerz, if he wants to save, has to tell everybody on camera that his quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa, has a noodle arm. And if you know anything about Jerz, that would hurt him more than punching him in the balls. So it works very well. If he really wants to say
I'm really not trying to use that shit. I ain't gonna lie.
He's not trying to save it at all. Like, ain't no editing, ain't no caveats. Like, he just got to say that shit straight up and just let it rock. I guarantee he will not use it.
I'm probably not going to. I'm not gonna lie. There's probably Kendall. One game in this tournament that could get me to say that.
But that's the point of the shit. Is like, how bad you want to keep that motherfucker?
And it shouldn't lose to none of these fucking games. But I don't know the matchup, so I mean, something might get it out of it.
Yeah,
Kendall's save is well, y'all know that is very, very hot in this room, and every now and then Kendall turns into a Southern belle. And talks about the vapors and declaring things and things of these nature.
Yeah, I do declare.
So I do declare. So Kendall has a hoodie somewhere next to him. If Kendall wants to save, he has to put that hoodie on for 1 minute first round, 1 minute and 10 for the second, and 1 minute 15 for the third.
If
I
so, what
cannot
you're
guarantee that
saying,
Kendall will use that.
yeah, what you're saying is if I want to save, I need to put my life on the line. And I don't know how much I like these goddamn games, bro. Like, we gonna see.
Hey, look, man, you could have brought a bottle of water up.
That shit is not gonna save me. You gotta, man. Listen, this is already dangerous in this bitch.
You finna be over here like, you know what? All of them deserve to win.
I
Participation trophy ass nigga.
I can see an argument for Forspoken. Yeah, I'm gonna let that rock.
All right. Fuck this hoodie. I'm not putting that on. Forspoken got it.
So the only so I'm gonna keep it a buck. The only reason that these three saves exist the way they are, minus mine, because mine was always the original plan, is because Jerz can't find his weight and Kendall don't have a weight.
Yep.
So I had to get creative.
All right, so I know we don't want to delay this too much, unless baby girl needs anything, because but I'm gonna kind of let you take the reins, Tony, because you have the brackets, you kind of got everything locked down. So whenever you're ready.
I got a question before we start.
Yeah.
So it's not each matchup is going to have two different people debating it, correct?
No, it's all three of us.
Yeah.
Whoever the third person that votes is just a tiebreaker. Now, if we're not going to pick a set order. It's not going to be me, Kendall, then you every time. Okay. So let's say it is one of these is me, Kendall, then you. If me and Kendall vote too, if you agree with it, we'll just move on. If you don't, well, you don't want to use your save. Probably, but I mean, you can still get your vote off. But
Yeah. Okay. I feel like we don't even really need to go in order because it's going to be a roundtable type of discussion, right?
Yeah. But we just know who the tiebreaker. We just state who's the tiebreaker vote for that one.
Right.
Yeah, basically.
So, everything's got to be 2-1. Right.
Okay. So then the other thing is, so since it's just an open forum, you just start debating for the game you think is better.
Yeah, you ain't even got to debate. You just pick.
Or if you get to a point where why if people
if you feel under pressure, you got to try to sway a motherfucker vote.
No, because I was just wondering if it was going to be a thing where it's like you got this game, you got this game, but no, it's more like you just take the game you think you win. Yep. So if we agree it's all good, it's only a beef if it's a beef.
Right.
All right, say less. All right, so I got it.
So this is how we're gonna do it though. I'm gonna start top left. I'm just going to go down the whole left side. So it's a Link region, Chrono region, Cloud region, Mario region. Okay. So I'm just going to go down the whole left and then go down the whole right. This is best game. This ain't the game you like the most.
Yeah.
Best game.
But what's better than what?
Right. Gotta get a little objective with it.
Yeah. Personal feelings aside.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Got it.
All right. So first matchup in the Link region. Number 1 seed, Metal Gear Solid 1. Number 8 seed, Last of Us.
Oh my God!
Wow. All right. Well, I think this was a mistake. I think that's pretty safe to say.
I told y'all it was gonna be some chaos.
God damn. I'm gonna be real though. I'm gonna probably have to vie for Metal Gear Solid. I love Last of Us. It's one of the best games ever made. But so is Metal Gear Solid, and I think it shifted shit so much. What Metal Gear Solid was doing on PS1 is crazy. What they accomplished on that system is wild. So just based off the strength of a technical achievement, I guess I had to go Metal Gear Solid.
No sir.
Okay.
This got spicy quicker than I thought it was.
Absolutely.
No way, boy.
Yo, Metal Gear Solid holds up to this day. I don't care what nobody says. It's facts. It's facts.
And it's correct. You are not wrong. But it is not better than Last of Us. Last of Us to me has one of the best stories in video game history.
For sure.
I mean, we know this for a fact because we all just watched the freaking show based on it, and it still hit just like it did in the game. Calm down.
Yeah.
2, it is really like the magnum opus of the Naughty Dog style of game. Like as great as Uncharted is, Last of Us is probably from a gameplay standpoint the best game they ever made. And you can't say that about Metal Gear Solid 1. As good as it is and as much as it holds up, it's really not the best. It's not even the best game in its own franchise, let alone the best Kojima game.
That's fair. That's fair. But I would say if we argue on gameplay, Last of Us Part 2 is probably a better game in my opinion. So
gameplay wise?
Yeah. Like the systems in play at Last of Us Part 2, the stealth mechanics is crazy. Like that shit took everything.
The only thing I agree with that. The only thing I disagree is I feel like Last of Us 1 nailed the aesthetic more because it was more of it was more of a survival horror game, and it nailed that better because it was a lot more. What's the word I'm looking for? Like items were more sparse.
Yeah, so there was a lot more survival in there.
Yeah, it was like way harder. Like in Part 2, I felt like I always had hella ammo. Like I never felt under duress like I did in Part 1, even though it was like a lot more enemy density and a lot more perilous situations. You know, people could be above you, below you. I give them that. Like the map layout was way better, but I always felt like I had everything I need in every situation. In Part 1, it's mad times I was running around with like no ammo, couldn't find a bottle to throw at nobody. I ain't have nothing to craft like the little med kits. It was just you got to throw hands for your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, this is tough. I can't believe this is the first matchup. This is crazy,
right? Because look, we
gotta go tiebreaker off the rip,
off the rip, bro. That's crazy.
All right, so I'm going Last of Us.
Okay,
I think it's just flat out a better game. I think, like Jerz said, for Naughty Dog to dip into that survival horror bag and do it right on the first shot. Like I don't disagree with you saying Metal Gear Solid kind of shifted some shit, but I think Last of Us shifted shit in a different way because it changed narrative storytelling in gaming.
Yeah,
and
I agree with that.
For the era that it came out in, where everybody was like increasingly multiplayer, like it brought that single player shit back.
That's fair.
I got to kick that through.
A really good point. Okay, I didn't even think about that, but like it really, Last of Us really reinforced Sony's strategy.
It did. It was the pinnacle of it, right?
Yeah, like, because if let's say Last of Us didn't hit like it did, shit might look real different now on PlayStation.
I'll say this: God of War wouldn't even be what God of War is. That shit is just Last of Us. Like you know, what I mean?
God of War was a whole different game, and they brought it right on over to that style of game, and now it's on this list.
Yeah.
So I mean, influence matters. And I mean, this is no slight to Metal Gear Solid. It's an incredible game.
Matter of fact, hold up. Let's get that out the way now because these matches were that crazy. None of this picks is slights to any of these motherfucking games.
Yeah, put a list for a
complaining about this shit.
They don't make this is like making the top 32 in the first place. We just willing it down to like what we can get it down to. And here's the thing. I argue for Metal Gear Solid, honestly, mostly for argument's sake, because I couldn't decide. Like, I'm like, let me go up for one of my favorite games ever against one of my favorite games ever. I ain't tripping about which one we pick here, but I think y'all made some good cases though.
All right, matchup 2.
Hey, so which one of those was the 1 seed?
Metal Gear Solid was the 1 seed.
Ooh,
Last
already.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah.
Upset alert.
Air quote upset. But upset nonetheless. I mean, you know.
All right, so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do 1/8, 2 7s, 3 6, and 4 5.
Okay.
All right, 2 7. Number 2 seed, Uncharted 2. 7 seed, Portal 2.
Oh my god, what's happening, bro?
I'm gonna be real.
I'm going with Portal 2.
I'm gonna be real. It's kind of easily Portal 2 for me. Like Portal 2. Like I love Uncharted. I love Uncharted.
I ain't gonna lie. Like
you Portal know what
2,
I mean?
Portal 2 is the better game.
It's a special fucking game.
I don't enjoy it more, but it's the better game. Portal 2 is an almost perfect video game.
Honestly, it really is. Honestly. It really is.
Portal 2 did the Tears of the Kingdom thing where Portal 1 was a 10 out of 10 and Portal 2 was like, what the fuck do we rank this now? Like, like this is everything better.
Makes you go back like maybe Portal wasn't a 10 out of 10.
Right.
So this shit right here.
Right.
Like, was that shit really that good?
Yeah, like was Portal really as fire as we thought it was?
Yes.
It
was.
It
was.
a comparison.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's like, it was. Portal was him. That's Portal 2.
Right.
Him
that was I appreciate that was
That's
a
just a bad matchup for Uncharted. That sucks.
That's a bad.
Yeah.
But
there's some games it will watch on
this
list.
Speaking of bad matchups,
sometimes somebody got your number, man.
Yeah.
Here's the Jerz Heart Attack matchup. Number 3 seed, Super Mario Brothers 3. 6 seed, Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, all right.
Man,
okay. I carry y'all.
I thought he was going
before we inevitably pick Chrono Trigger, because I would pick Chrono Trigger anyway, just off of gameplay.
That's a sweep.
Mario 3 made me who I am, nigga. Like, this is the game that made me a gamer for real. Like, I learned to curse off this goddamn game. And here's the funny thing. Y'all saw that Super Mario Wonder presentation, I assume. Like, everybody in the audience, if you didn't, they did like a 15-minute presentation. As soon as it ended, I started playing Mario 3. Like, and I've been playing it for like 2 days straight. I'm on World 8 now. I'm about to beat this bitch. And that's an amazing game, bro. Like, that game is really good. It holds up to this day.
Mario
but it's Chrono. It is. But I just wanted to say that.
It still has an argument as the best 2D Mario.
It does, for sure.
I mean, there's a couple other ones that might have something to say, but like the fact that one of them from that's 1990 or some shit.
Yeah,
that was before that, wasn't it?
Nah, Mario 3, I think it was like.
It's like
no, 3 was 90. I'm thinking thinking
so it's like you talking about a 33-year-old game at this point?
Yeah.
Same
because I mean,
still hasn't been top.
World is probably the only one that's got a World and maybe Yoshi's Island.
Yeah, man.
Like, that's
Yoshi's
far.
Island was incredible, man.
yeah,
man.
But Chrono Trigger is just, I mean, anybody who know me has heard me speak about it before, and like the way you speak about Mario 3 is basically Chrono Trigger for me. Like, it did make me a gamer. Hey. It did make me a gamer because, like, I was knee deep in games by the time Super Nintendo rolled around.
Right.
But it did a lot of the way I see the world or think about things really started with Chrono Trigger, which is a wild thing to think. But like some of the situations they put you in that game, and some of the questions I had to ask when I got to the end, or even just a big revelation of who Lavos was and what was actually happening, it just made me look at things past what you actually see right in front of you in a way that a lot of people just don't really like to do, because it forces you to like think of things you might not want to think of. So like it's a really important game to me, and it popped up at a time when like I ain't have a lot going on like socially at that time because I had just moved. Stop, please. So like I was like more like introverted at that time. This before I kind of like spread my wings and stuff. So like it was really all I had for a very long time, but there was so much to the game that it didn't even matter. Like you had like 16 endings and all these different things to see. It's a lot of games that owe Chrono Trigger everything. Like way too many.
Yeah. It's a lot of RPGs. Yeah. That's their daddy.
Listen, I can relate to everything you said. That was kind of more my Final Fantasy VII experience, but I feel like every word of that. And it's funny, as much as I've been playing Mario 3, I've been playing Sea of Stars too, and that's pretty much like a spiritual.
I heard it was like a Chrono Trigger sequel, damn.
Yeah, and I had heard of Sea of Stars, but I didn't know it was supposed to be a comparison till today.
Like they got the composer back, you know what I mean?
Like the IGN review popped up on my YouTube algorithm, so I just clicked on it. Like, well, let me see if they saying this is good. And in the very beginning, they're like, "Chrono Trigger inspired." I said, "Wait."
Yeah, because they never hidden it. You know what I mean? That was like red on your sleeve.
I wasn't really tracking on the game like that, but
yeah.
I just saw as we started this that it's on Game Pass, so I'm like, oh, it's up. I'm about to try it.
It's actually free on Game Pass and PS Plus, which is crazy.
Oh, it's
free on PS Plus?
Yeah.
No!
So, say less.
It's like it's easy.
Sorry,
that motherfucker right now on
you a shot.
And I'm telling you, it's a good game. Like I haven't really dug my teeth into an RPG in a while, but I played The Messenger just to get ready for it. It's in like the same universe as The Messenger, and it's pretty dope.
All right, next matchup, and I feel like this is a sweep. I feel like this is a sweep to the point where I already filled the motherfucker in. 4 seed, God of War 2018, 5 seed, Red Dead 1.
Like Red Dead Redemption or Revolt?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Okay, exactly. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So we're all
God
in
of
agreement
War,
there.
but
Okay.
good Lord, man. But I love the Red Dead Redemption.
I did too. I did too. But it ain't that.
No, but it ain't God of War.
Yeah.
It ain't
God of War, man. Yeah. If Red Dead Redemption 1 at that time was Red Dead Redemption 2, it probably would have taken that spot. But you know what I mean? But
yeah. If that turned out to be the sequel, it might have worked that out. But nah. All right. We're in the Chrono region now.
Okay.
1 seed here. Metal Gear Solid 4, 8 seed. Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Oh boy. MGS4 and MVC2.
Oh man.
Oh God.
Yeah. That's tricky, honey.
I've had the fucking bracket for the last week, and I'm still struggling with these motherfuckers.
Yeah. That's a because that's like such a different impact.
Yeah, it's so
games
different. So you got to look at a lot of things. Like, all right, so let's just start throwing some shit out there and try to figure this out. So, I mean, I think Marvel is a much more impactful game. Like,
me too.
We talked about this last week. Like, even getting it on the list and what it's done. Metal Gear Solid 4, we all remember it finally, but like in the grand scheme of things, it don't get talked about as much as some of the other ones. Like Snake Eater is the one that gets talked about the most.
Yep.
Snake Eater's the one that got the remake. So.
Yeah, right. That's the one they chose to showcase when they were like, hey, we finna remake all these hoes. They showed a Snake Eater because they knew.
Yeah.
That was the one that people was going to be looking for first. Like, So, I mean, it was a good, end to the saga.
It was fantastic. But
but Marvel vs. Capcom 2, what I'll say about Marvel vs. Capcom 2, it did what Final Fantasy 7 did in a way that a lot of people who didn't play fighting games played Marvel vs. Capcom 2 for some reason.
Yeah.
I think it was the character roster.
It was the characters. It was the vibe, like the art style.
It was flashy. It drew you in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just walking by and you see it, like, what the hell is? You see Spider-Man beating the fuck out of Wolverine. Like, oh wait, I need to try this out. And it's even more crazy because it was the second one, but the first one just didn't hit like the second one did. Like, something about the second one made it like a pop culture phenomenon.
The transition from 1 to 2. I mean, that's a going to the lab all-star. Them motherfuckers went back and said
it was like the Assassin's Creed glow up.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, we got something here, but what can we do to get it where it need to be? And then they just did everything.
And that's part of the impact too. Like when you look at games like a Super Mario 64 or whatever, like that jump from Mario World to he's polygonal now. The same thing. Like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 felt like such a huge leap up, like in terms of style and like the feel. You know what I mean? Like just everything about it was like a moment for fighting games. So
yeah, it absolutely was, especially for tag team fighting games. Like I don't know if they've ever made a better tag game, 3D or 2D.
Right.
Like that really was like, because 3 wasn't better than 2. I mean, 3 was good in its own right and it had its run.
Right.
But 3's not still around and 2 still is. There's a reason for that. And we're not gonna talk about Infinite. That was
a mistake. It was a mistake.
And like Tekken Tag is cool, but it don't hit like Marvel.
Right. And it's funny.
Tag game.
I feel like with Marvel vs. Capcom 3, it's possible that it's like mechanically better, you know what I mean? But that says even more about how people
I do think it improved upon the formula in some ways, but it don't matter.
Right.
Like sometimes that don't matter. Like
it sounds like we got to pick then.
Yep.
Sounds like we got.
Unfortunately, I think Marvel.
I'm telling you now, man. one of these Metal Gears is getting on this motherfucking. They making it to the next round. I'm
But
like,
we just talked about
look,
going to slide by.
Kendall,
depending
I
on
don't
what,
know.
Depending on what it go up against.
I'm telling you right now, man,
Snake Eater might be out of here.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Okay, that worries me greatly, but okay.
Next matchup: 2 seed Skyrim, 7 seed Super Smash Brothers Melee. I'm letting you know right now. I'm picking Super Smash Brothers Melee.
Oh wow!
I'm honestly
because Skyrim ain't even the best Bethesda game, and Skyrim's combat has always been like iffy to me.
But you
it's
know
a
what?
Great game, but
I'm about to do something I never thought I'd.
I knew it. I knew it.
And I'm about to defend Skyrim.
I was so happy when I saw that matchup because I just knew.
And I'm only going to defend Skyrim because as a person who's professionally hated Skyrim for like a decade now,
literally,
the fact that I still have to hate on the game 10 years later should say something. That means it's still out here alive and kicking. Like they done remade it like 5 times. People buy it every time.
Bro.
It's still regarded as one of the greatest RPGs ever made. Although I do like there is a sentiment that it's not the best it's not the best Bethesda game.
Right.
But it doesn't matter. We just talked about this with MVC2. It don't have to be. It's the one that everybody put on the pedestal for whatever reason. So you can't ignore that. Like, yeah, the better games didn't capture everybody's heart like Skyrim did. And it's like, stop trying to talk to me, girl. But it's like, I don't know. It's just hard for me to outright just say it was Skyrim versus what was the game?
Melee.
Yeah, Smash Brothers. But Smash Brothers Melee has a case too because it's going.
I mean, it's still going up at Evo.
Right.
I think
it has the same
exact argument that Marvel vs. Capcom 2 just had. Like I feel like
that it did it somewhere where you don't expect the hardcore fighting game on a Nintendo platform, let alone the GameCube, which was one of the most awkward Nintendo consoles in history, although time proved it to be really underrated. But at the time,
extremely,
people wasn't really banging with GameCube like that. But somehow Melee rose above all that and became like one of the best games on that console, and it's still here. And it proved that, you know, it doesn't matter what a fighting game look like if the foundation of it is solid, people the FGC gonna fuck with it.
Yeah,
that's a fact.
So,
but I guess fuck.
I was like, Jerz still ain't picked.
I really haven't.
He didn't. He just defended.
You haven't. You started off. Yeah.
This is the first one where I feel like I really don't know outright which way I will go because you basically arguing.
Here's where I'm falling because I think I just kind of made my decision. Here's why. Y'all making really good arguments. I do think Skyrim is probably like it might not be the best. Some people go up for it. It might not even be people's favorite, you know, Elder Scrolls game. People like Oblivion and Morrowind and whatnot. But I think it's similar with Melee where people love Skyrim. It's the one that hit. People love Melee. It was the one that hit. When the next Elder Scrolls comes out, we might forget about Skyrim. I don't think we'll ever forget about Melee, so that's why I'm going Melee. Like I think
it's a good point because Ultimate came out and people were still talking about it.
People still talking about
Melee.
Right. I think that game is timeless in a way. Skyrim might get overshadowed by Elder Scrolls 6.
Was Skyrim the last Elder Scrolls game?
Yeah, that's the
okay.
So it's the newest.
That's a good argument then. Yeah, you're right. The reason why Skyrim might be getting put on that pedestal still is because its predecessor
they ain't dropped no more dope.
They haven't the next one to really make people, you know, not forget about Skyrim, but move on from Skyrim.
Right.
It could be partly because how great it was, and partly because we just the next one.
Like I want to say, I'll say this: like Skyrim is still a great game. Like it was one of those 360 games that you can put out again on PS5 and it still plays fucking fantastic. So that says a lot, you know what I mean? But,
Yeah, Skyrim had it's the GTA 5 effect where they've put it out like on 3 different generations and it hit all 3 times. But
I would argue GTA 5 got the Skyrim effect because they was doing that shit for a long time.
you're
That
right.
shit is
Yeah.
that shit is sick.
That's fair. And I mean, but that last point you made kind of does solidify for Melee because we've seen Melee outlast its predecessor. We haven't seen Skyrim do that.
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if it do, but we don't know. So
exactly.
I kind of got to go with the proven to my. That was a great point actually.
I think so.
All right, we got another 7 seed going forward.
Oh, that was another 8 seed. That one.
That was 2-7.
Damn.
Smash Brothers was a 7.
Okay, underdogs.
All right. I know where this matchup is going, but I might be inclined to use my save here. But I'm going to wait and see where it goes.
Okay.
3 seed NFL 2K5, 6 seed Elden Ring.
Oh my god.
Oh, God
I'm picking. So I'm picking NFL 2K5, and I'm gonna tell y'all why.
Okay.
The same argument for Jerz's hatred of The Witcher 3, at least initially, is the one that I would have for Elden Ring. I can't deny that Elden Ring is a great game. I haven't played it yet, but I've seen enough of it, and From Software don't miss. So I know it's a great game. The impact of that game has yet to be felt. NFL 2K5 changed sports games, and it changed the business of gaming. Because you look at NFL 2K5, they dropped that bitch for 20. It was a better game. Madden got scared, did that deal with EA, no more competition. They was able to rest on their laurels. Then they started dropping the Ultimate Team shit and threw microtransactions in there. And then all of a sudden, everybody else is doing it. 2K ain't have nothing to work on. So they said, all right, we going to do NBA 2K. Blew Live out the water, kicked EA off of that. All of a sudden, microtransactions and My Player and all this other shit kick off with 2K. And now that's the biggest fucking thing to the point it's changed the entire culture of sports gaming. All of that started because of NFL 2K5.
All of that that's a fact.
That's a good argument.
People forget
and it still holds up to this day. I mean, people are doing mods with new rosters.
Like all of the 2K sports games that year were $20. People forget that. It wasn't just football. But that's the only one that really like made an impact. Like 2K was already kind of getting live out of here by that point. So it didn't matter if it was $20. Right. That was just them trying to keep shit uniform. Same with baseball back then. But when they dropped 2K for 20, and then people who had never played it because they were like so loyal to Madden had to give it a shot and realized it was actually, and then you had people like us who played it that were telling them like, yo, we told y'all.
Hey, get on this.
Yeah.
Y'all, like we've been telling y'all for like 3 years now. This 2K is different. But brand loyalty is a thing. And I mean, in one fell swoop, they were literally about to take the entire market. Like EA might not be here if they get that NFL.
If they ain't strike that deal,
because if they would have lost Madden and Live in the same year.
Oh yeah, that would at least EA Sports might not have been what it is.
EA Sports, EA was here, but EA Sports might have had to shut down.
Well, I mean, honestly, EA might not have been here because EA single player stuff wasn't like. It wasn't that then.
Yeah, it wasn't really hitting like that.
Because they were still trying to eat off of James Bond games.
Yeah. Or do you want better? Or EA might be the biggest company in gaming.
Yeah.
Because they might have actually had to put effort into their sports games and some shits might have actually got better and they might have actually benefited from it.
Yeah.
That war would have went on to this day. And get the license because I don't feel like 2K was really gonna fall off.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 2K, you might argue now and it fell off, but that's because it has no competition. It's the same thing as Madden. So if EA had kept making both games, all 4 of the games would probably
honestly 2K wouldn't have fallen off because the NBA 2K games is still a quality game of basketball. It's just the other shit around it.
Yeah.
Like the what they do with My Player and how fucking predatory the microtransactions are.
I don't think changes.
But the gameplay itself still elite.
Gameplay is still a top basketball game. And it's like, I don't know. It's just hard for me to put to make 2K not go through in this matchup, as wild as that sound, because it's like
I thought for sure I was gonna be lifting the weight.
Nah, because with all the stuff you just said, that's a great case. But then you also have to factor in how good of a game it actually was. It's
Dog.
not where it's like,
this
it was
was a 10.
that was a cultural
Facts.
phenomenon.
Yeah.
Like, no, this is the
No.
rare instance
That
when-
deal existed because of the gameplay.
and where like the game is heralded because it was fucking damn near flawless. Like I played 2K5 a few years ago. This was like maybe 2015. So that would be like 10 years after it came out. Played it on Xbox, and it still felt better than any Madden I've played since after that. Like,
I believe it.
that's so good.
Real-time highlights, man.
Like, and then it introduced so much stuff. Like, it even had the first thing I thought about. Did y'all see the thing the other day that they showed where they were showing the footage from Tua having the camera?
Oh yeah, first-person football. Yeah,
and that literally was in 2K.
Yeah,
like that was
crazy.
What's up with you? And that's something they were like, if they'd have had more time to keep messing with that, they probably would have got that somewhere where it's like, oh shit, like that would probably be in VR by now. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? But it's like they had the little RPG aspect where you could get collectibles for your room. That's like the type of shit a bunch of games have now, but they put it in sports. Like, you know what I mean? EA tried to copy it with like the little trophy room, but it ain't hit the same. Like,
nope.
I don't know. That game was just so. We say games were ahead of their time all the time, but like that game.
That game was.
Yeah, because it ain't nothing like it since.
Nope.
Yeah. So I know that y'all know that I love NFL 2K5, but I was really just waiting, and I already know that y'all both pretty much swayed toward that side now.
You better put that hoodie on, nigga.
I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be real. I'm not going to do it for this one because I already know how it's going to go. Like, I'm the Elden Ring, like, the one preaching for this jump. But I just want to make my case just to see if I sway anybody, because a lot of what y'all said about everything y'all said about 2K is absolutely true. That game was incredible. Like I said, I don't really play football games. I played the fuck out that game, like with my cousins and shit. Like, you know what I mean?
You're making a great case for 2K5, by the way.
I'm being real. Like, it's a great game. Like,
it's a
it
nigga
really
that didn't
is.
play football games.
Listen,
on that 2K5 though.
Everything that I just said about football games can be applied to Elden Ring, because everybody was playing that shit when it came out. I feel you when you say that we haven't seen it make the impact, but I think that's because the game is a year old. You know what I mean? We haven't gotten a chance to see it yet. But even with the game being a year old, it can't be denied that it is making that. It's coming. Like, that shit, the way that they structure their open world, the way that they took their formula and flipped it to make it work in Elden Ring and open everything up and take some of the difficulty away by adding to the exploration, because now you can just walk the fuck away from some shit when you can't beat it. You ain't got to bash your head against it a million times until you beat it. That shit is really like like you were talking about Last of Us, that's their Last of Us moment. This is we just stepped our whole formula up and brought a whole bunch of people in, and this is about to change the whole game. Elden Ring is really that exact 10 out of 10 type of game. And like you said about 2K, it's because it's so fucking good. Like, there's no like special gimmicks and shit like that draws people in. I mean, open world, sure, but that means nothing in 2023. Let's be real.
Yeah, it's just a game.
Yeah, like that's what half the time is what you expect.
Open world, we're shocked because everything.
You should say that, right?
Open world now. Yeah, we assume the game is open world unless they say it's not.
Facts. So Elden Ring is like it's the pinnacle of so many things that they've been working on and honing. There's like 20. There's things I'm still learning about this game that blow my mind. Like, it's one of those Zelda type experiences where it's like, I didn't even know there was 10 types of magic, and there's like 20. Like, it's just crazy. This game is nuts. But I know that I would be putting on that hoodie if I wanted to save it, and I would just be saving the shit to get beat out next round. So I ain't gonna do that to myself.
I think the only reason I would take 2K over Elden Ring, besides the fact that, like you said, it's only been out like a year, so it doesn't have the benefit of being time tested,
right,
is Elden Ring, for how great it is and how revolutionary it was or is, it really only shifted shit in a very small genre. Because that, those Soulsborne games, as they like to call them, or from software type game, I don't want to call it a small genre, because like more and more people are trending.
It's very specific.
That's what I was going to say though.
Focused.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
very focused type of
it's
video
a
game.
very niche genre. Like
niche
it's
is a
for
good
people that
word.
like it. Yeah.
And I will say it flipped that genre on its head because we're seeing other styles of games lean into that type of format, like Armored Core. They just made Armored Core and they kind of pushed their formula into the mech combat world, which is new. And then you got something like Liza P, which I feel like if this game got made, 5 years ago, they would have made it more like Devil May Cry.
Right. Facts.
But
yeah.
now any kind of action adventure game like that, or we'll just say action game or action RPG, let's call it that. Any action RPG or combat style game is getting pushed toward just more boss fights, less random enemy fights that really don't push you. And that's thanks to the Souls games, but even more so thanks to Elden Ring, because they finally figured out how to make it accessible to a wider range of people and not just the people who already play those games. I mean, it helps that it was set in, that fantasy world and you had the lore with George R.R. Like that definitely helped.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to attribute it all to that. A lot of it was people who play those games saying, hey, if you ever thought these games were cool but thought they were out of your wheelhouse, this is the one you should play.
Come to Death Row.
Yeah, exactly. Because this is the one they made for all the people who loved watching from the sideline but wish they could get on the field. It's your time.
That's 100% it. And that game is
discount what Elden Ring did, but 2K did all of that. But it like we explained, it shifted shit for two different companies.
Right.
And it basically redefined what should matter in a sports game.
Yeah, I made a hell of an argument. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, that was the one I came with the briefcase like Will and Carlton in the courtroom.
Man, listen.
I saw that matchup. I'm like, nah, I gotta come with it. I gotta come with
it. The way we talked about that game to get it on the list, I already knew it was. We ain't gonna let that go down without a fight.
But I will say this though, I feel like if one of us had played Elden Ring, this might go different.
Hell,
it could have.
Yeah, I'll admit that. But you're the only one who played it. So I do want to, I apologize to Elden Ring fans that we didn't play it. But like, maybe if one of us had played through it and beat it, it might change our perspective. But I mean, it is what it is.
It's on the list.
Yeah,
I mean, it's in the backlog somewhere.
We definitely, it's getting this respect from all three of us, especially for us to talk about it in this way, and we haven't even played it. Like,
and that's the thing.
You don't have to play a game.
No, it's an objective thing. Sometimes with gaming, it's real objective, man. You can look at some shit and go, "This is fire."
That's a quality
I just haven't played it yet.
Right. Yeah, and Elden Ring has it's funny to open people up to the fact that these games are not about challenge. It's about like patience and like pacing and shit like that. But I ain't gonna preach my FromSoft Bible today. We can move on.
All right. So this is the Kendall's hoodie matchup. 4 seed, Metal Gear Solid 3. 5 seed, Final Fantasy X.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. There's no way. I'm
going to save him the hoodie. I got Metal Gear.
I was about to say, listen, as much as I'm going up for Metal Gear Solid, I'm not going to hold you. I probably like Final Fantasy more. Final Fantasy X.
Which game is better?
Oh, I definitely like Final Fantasy.
You hear me?
It's not better than Snake Eater.
You hear me? Bro, this is the best game in one of the best series. Come on now.
Yeah, it's just
okay. I'll just making sure
because Snake Eater is the pinnacle of yes,
easily
we've been talking a lot about because we got a lot of these games, they're the pinnacle of their series for a reason, and these are classic series. So of course the best one in the series is going to make the cut. But yeah, Snake Eater was like Metal Gear perfected.
Yeah,
it was like everything Kojima wanted it to be, and
from the plot to the setting to the
setting, the plot, the boss. Oh my god, the boss fights,
bosses, yes.
Like and then the ending, like just everything about it was just peak Kojima, dog. Like
pitch perfect, man. Pitch perfect.
Yeah, like it's gonna be a hard game to beat going forward. And like Final Fantasy X, like there's Final Fantasy games that could beat out Snake Eater, but 10 ain't the right one.
And I love 10. Like 10 specifically helped
10
get me into the series. But
10 was probably the most responsible for people playing Final Fantasy after 7.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
fact.
Because
I think
everybody loves a good love story, and because it came out very early in the PS2 life. Like
it was damn near a launch title.
it was
damn near a launch title. I think it came out like a month or two later after launch.
Mm-hmm.
So like a lot of people played it because there wasn't a bunch of other stuff to play, and of course the commercial looked.
Yeah, wasn't nobody playing Fantavision all day.
Yeah, so it was like, what's up with this Final Fantasy shit?
Let me just say that commercial got me into wrestling. I tell the story all the time. Like I used to watch SmackDown just to see that bitch. But yeah.
No, the commercial.
Yes, bro. Like that. They played it every time.
They did. No, I remember that. Yeah, they
Final Fantasy 10
every Friday night.
It's wild how long PlayStation has used like WWE to like advertise. It's been very.
It's easy money because everybody was watching.
Yeah. But it's like a partnership that seemed to have like been around forever. Like I remember damn near any big PlayStation game since we were young, you remember seeing commercials during wrestling. Yeah. But I never thought about it till you just said it.
That's true. Yeah. I always had that in my mind. Like I still associate that game with like WWF.
Not the Attitude Era.
Yeah. Like,
that's wild.
It's crazy. Fuck but we ain't on that.
Definitely remember because I even remember the X2 commercials during wrestling.
Yep. Thanks.
Because the commercials had that damn concert from the beginning of the game.
Mm-hmm.
That was the commercial.
But I think Final Fantasy 10 would be a better matchup for like a Metal Gear Solid 2. Like this was a big step up and like a pinnacle game. But
it could have beat some of the other ones maybe, but not the granddaddy. Nah, that wasn't happening.
Yeah. All right, we're in a new region now. Cloud region.
Hey,
top right. Number 1 seed, BioShock. Number 8 seed, Super Metroid.
Ooh.
You know where I'm going with this. You know where I'm going with this.
You got Super Metroid, don't you?
Yes. Sam is Hive over here.
I guess we got beef then, because I got BioShock.
Interesting. These are such interesting.
Do I got BioShock?
All right, hold on. Look. That 8 seed is the reason the whole genre exists. Half of a genre.
That's very true.
That's facts. And the other half of the name didn't even start doing that shit to the PlayStation. So I mean,
that was SNES.
Yeah.
I mean, when you talk about
do I have an argument for BioShock over Metroid?
When you talk about open-ended gameplay, Super Metroid damn near pioneered that shit.
It sounds like you had the same exact like the impulse reaction that I had to Metal Gear Solid 1, where you're like, that game is so goddamn good, but
I guess because BioShock just
BioShock was different. Look, for story, if you were comparing stories, obviously BioShock wipes it out the water.
That's the hard
that's
part
like
for
the
me
god tier twist
to reconcile, because I'm the story guy. Like
me too.
I'm the story person. So like, and I'm not knocking Super Metroid for not having a story. Like games weren't narrative based back then like that. So like I'm not gonna hold that against it. And it did tell a story in a sense. Like I felt the way at the end when the Metroid came in.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I mean, if you look at all the 2D joints, there's a very clear story.
Even a story without cutscenes and words. Like you found the Metroid, and then there was a story there.
Yeah.
But BioShock narratively was just so fucking genius.
Yeah.
That it's just that shit stays with me. Like it's seared into my brain. Like the wild part is the story was so well written and executed that I knew the spoiler and forgot it by the time I got to the end. Like I literally, because I didn't play BioShock when it came out. I didn't have a 360. Mm-hmm. If you remember, it didn't come on PlayStation until like a year later or way later.
I still associate it with 360.
Like right when I was about to get a 360, because that was the game. I don't know if I knew you didn't, P. Yeah, I did. We knew each other.
Yeah, BioShock. Yeah.
Yeah, so you probably remember me saying there was 2 games that I was jealous was only on 360. It was BioShock and Mass Effect.
Yep.
That was the 2 games. I ain't give a fuck about nothing else they had over there. But them was the 2. And right when I was going to buy a 360, I actually bought a 360. I bought a 360 and I bought Mass Effect. But I didn't buy a BioShock. And then when I got ready to buy BioShock, they announced it for PS3. And I said, oh, fuck that. I'm playing on my PlayStation.
Yeah.
I just waited, but because trophies was out by then, I was like a fucking trophy fiend. Well, am a trophy,
Say still,
but
I
it
respect.
was like so. By the time I got to play it on PlayStation, people had talked about that shit all over the internet. I had already seen the twist and whatever, and yeah, I didn't have all the context of it, but I knew it was coming. And by the time I got to the end of the game, it hit me like I never knew because the game
it was that well done. Yeah,
it hit it in plain sight so well that you're not even thinking about it at all until the revelation, and you like, wait, what? Wait, fuck.
This bitch ass nigga was controlling
the whole time.
But realistically, like you say, like BioShock, for everything it did narratively, everything else about it is derivative. Like it didn't push the genre forward in any other way except just narratively. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like you say, Super Metroid it did too much. It did too much.
It's interesting. I agree. I'm with Super Metroid too, but it's an interesting matchup because I feel like one other thing that BioShock did, they both did in a way that was crazy for their time, and that's atmosphere. Like the atmospheric
Rapture is fucking. Yeah. I mean, not even just Rapture, just from the beginning of the game.
Around,
just walking into the lighthouse.
That was kind of
that shit is creepy before you even
it's like,
start the shit.
Yeah. Honestly, you can go back to the plane. Like that whole shit is crazy.
Yeah,
it really is.
But
all right, that's another one I thought I was gonna have to lift the weight on.
BioShock deserved better, man.
It did. Listen, man.
Blame the
I'm not even saying the Macked Up. I mean the franchise in particular. Like because
they followed up with 2, and that was weak as fuck.
But do you remember
some of it back with Infinite?
Do you know the story behind all that though?
Nah.
Yeah, they changed studios like twice. Like it was
so I'll run it down real quick because this always makes me sad. So Ken Levine, he was the mastermind behind BioShock.
Yep.
So what was it? Rational Games, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So they made BioShock, and the original plan was it was going to be like an anthology. There were going to be 5 games in the series. And each of them were going to be a standalone game, but they were all going to tie together at the end.
Which makes Infinite make sense.
That was supposed to be the last one. So when that was supposed to be the 5th one.
That hurt already.
So they made BioShock. It was so popular and successful that they wanted them to make another BioShock, like in Rapture. Like they were going to make another BioShock, but it was going to be a whole different place, whole different characters, whole different everything. And the parent, 2K was the parent company?
2K,
yeah. They wanted another game in Rapture. So they had another company make it. His company didn't make BioShock 2.
Yeah, that I remember.
They had another company make it. They made the Big Daddy was the main character.
Yeah.
And all of that. And the game came out how it came out, and it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't. It wasn't.
It wasn't what it was supposed to be.
Retroactively, though, I hear a lot of people say good things about it. So,
it's a good game.
Yeah.
Once you remove from
just
what you expected,
over what is not, you realize this is a fun
That's
game.
what it is. Yeah, that's exactly it.
But Infinite was supposed to be the final game in the series, and y'all both beat it, right? Infinite.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I lost my fucking mind
when
at that.
You find out that all the lighthouse lead to like different universes.
Yep.
So that was how they was going to tie it all together.
Yeah,
that makes so much sense. And they still
that would have hit after 5 games. And it still
that would have hit after 5 games.
It still hit
in the one game when you just popped up back in Rapture. Like the fuck.
Crazy, bro. Like
imagine going through all the different lighthouses and seeing all the places you've been in 4 different games, and then you finally end up back in the way they had explained what it's supposed to be, like that shit was going to be like some like Hall of Fame shit.
That was some MCU shit.
Yeah, so they just skipped to the last one, and then I think the studio got closed down after that. He opened a new studio, and they were working on a game.
It recently got revealed. Like the gameplay looks crazy. I forget what it's called, but there was like a reveal.
But his company did finally. Because I remember he started a new company, and they were working on some secret game or whatever. I think I know what game you're talking about.
Yeah, it looks pretty dope. It does look like kind of like a spiritual successor to that vibe.
To look it up. I want to know if it's the game I think it is. Yeah, because if it is, it definitely looks like it's in the ballpark.
Right, yeah, for sure.
All
So
right, next matchup. Number 3 seed. Oh, my bad. Skip it. Number 2 seed, Bloodborne. 7 seed, Destiny 2.
Man.
This is y'all going 1-on-1 on this.
Wow.
I'm gonna have to be tiebreaker here.
Yeah.
Just to tie that up, it's called Judas. Is that the game?
Oh yes, that is it. Yep. That shit looks crazy.
His game, yeah.
Yep. Okay, so it's gonna be an uphill. Again, I'm not gonna lie. If I push Bloodborne hard, it's gonna get booted next round. Like I know I'm not talking to Souls folks. So
I don't know.
But you depend on what it match up with.
I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, fair enough. So let me make my case. So Elden Ring.
Keep in mind, I did play Bloodborne.
Yeah,
okay. So you okay. So all right. I know I gotta kind of keep it. We are kind of getting long in the episode. I'm trying to.
We're gonna try and shoot through this. I don't think we need to part 2 this one.
I'm trying to avoid it. Yeah, but it is gonna late. But so Bloodborne is the game that it's like the Assassin's Creed 2 almost. It is that one game where like people pull it out of the group as their favorite, regardless of what else comes out. It has a different feel than most Souls games. Like, what if you don't like the slow-paced knights and armor combat? Bloodborne has that quicker pace. It's got like you don't have a shield, you got a gun that parry, like that parry shit. It's got this crazy fucking Lovecraftian aesthetic, almost that like with werewolves and shit like that. That switches up mid game and turns into some whole other shit that I won't even get into. But like, that's the real game. Like, Bloodborne is a game that was incredibly ahead of its time. Still setting up shit like Lies of P is Bloodborne with Pinocchio. Like, they putting out Bloodborne still. You know what I mean? That's an impactful game. So that's my take on that shit. Now I already know it's gonna be a tough battle, but yeah.
We'll say that you talking to 2 crackheads right now.
Yep.
I mean,
I got one argument or one thing I could say. Destiny 2 literally got Bungie $3 billion. I don't know what else I really had to say. Like
if your game good enough to make a motherfucking $3 billion, yeah, okay.
If Sony, who at this time is in an advantageous position when it comes to quote unquote console wars, looked over at Bungie and Destiny 2 and said, you know what? We need these motherfuckers in house. Open up the checkbook. We got $3 billion. You did something right, man. Like, I mean, and even past that, because this argument is supposed to be what game is better. So like we can talk about impact, but like let's get to the game. Objectively, I only will say Destiny 2 is a better game because it did the impossible. Like, if you would have sat somebody down in 2014, had them play Destiny 1, and then tell them that 10 years later, this game is still going to be around, they would have called you a goddamn maniac. Because that game that was there in 2014 shouldn't have lasted 10 years.
No, not the way it existed then.
Like that or this franchise shouldn't even have lasted 10 years. Not off only 2 games.
Yeah.
Like, but somehow they were able to do something that like just it defies all logic, honestly. And I mean, as good as Bloodborne is, and as on time as it was for Sony, because they ain't really have that much heat exclusively around that time of that was what, PS4?
PS4, yeah, like early PS4.
Like in the first year, they ain't really have much. They hadn't really hit their stride. So it was a very important game, and it was a very important game for that's From Software, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and I say it's an important game for them because like you said, not only did it was it influential toward other games like Lies of P does give me the Bloodborne vibe, but it also showed them that hey, we don't have to stick to the Souls formula to the T to be successful.
Right.
And I feel like it led them off the alternate path of we can still do the Souls game, but now we got a Sekiro.
Yep.
I mean?
Exactly.
And that led to an Elden Ring, where it's like, all right, let's take these lessons we learned in the non-Souls games and apply them to like an actual Souls game.
Facts.
And see what happens. So I feel like that was the first time they branched or deviated from their formula. And I think the fact that it was successful, I think it was their highest selling game to that time, right?
I think so. That game, yeah.
Because it sold like 2 million or something, and their games weren't really selling 1 million. The Souls games, like
that shit did numbers.
Yeah,
Bloodborne
doing good numbers for like the genre it was in.
Yeah, it had the benefit of being kind of like its own IP, so you didn't feel like you had to play Dark Souls 1.
It didn't scare people away hearing Souls. Like, oh hell no.
Right.
Because I mean, that's why I tried it. Because I ain't played them Souls games. I tried Demon Souls back in the day on PS3. It was free on Plus. Yeah, I played that shit for like 2 hours. And it was like, this ain't for me.
Yeah, they'll do that. But I feel what you're saying.
So this is actually going pretty good because once we get past the first round, it's easier because we've already made arguments for the games that exist, so we'll just be able to pick.
Facts.
All right, so 3 seed, Final Fantasy 6, 6 seed, Halo 2.
Ew.
His randomizer was on some shit.
That is kind of like a gross matchup.
That's disgusting, yo. I mean, I know what I'm a pick, but
I know what we all should pick.
It's Final Fantasy 6.
Okay.
We can't use the word impact at all in this episode and not pick Final Fantasy 6 here. Not to take away from Halo 2's impact, but
that sucks for Halo 2 though.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Because I mean, you talk about multiplayer, Red versus like Rooster Teeth built their whole brand on Halo 2.
Man, yes.
That's crazy.
But gameplay
I can't find an argument for Halo 2 over Final Fantasy 6. Like I've told y'all, Final Fantasy 6 is the best Final Fantasy game to me.
Yeah, that's a lot of people's,
I mean, I know that's not a hot take, but a lot of people say 7 because it's the one that it had the biggest impact.
Right.
But 6 is kind of like
gameplay wise, that's the one.
What Final Fantasy is to me. Even though I like the other ones too, if you ask me what's the definitive Final Fantasy experience, I'm gonna point you to that game because that was the one that made me that was the first one I truly fell in love with. I played the first Final Fantasy game on Nintendo. I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
Because I never had played RPG.
Yeah.
I didn't get the whole turn-based. I didn't get it. But I've tried it.
Right.
Final Fantasy 2, which was, I want to say 3 in Japan. The first one on SNES. I bought that one too. And by then I understood the series, but it was good. I beat it. I liked it. I enjoyed the story. But when I got 3, that one was super different. Like, I was obsessed with that game. Like, I think I felt the same way about it I did about 2 until the opera scene. That's when, something clicked.
That shit changed up.
Yeah.
What is this? Like, what is happening? And I don't know. It was the perfect marriage of, gameplay, spells, story. It just had everything you want in an RPG, literally everything. And now that they've remade Final Fantasy VII, besides Chrono Trigger, that's the game I think they should just give the remake treatment more than any other game because we deserve to have that game in today's graphics. We really that shit would be disgustingly ridiculous.
It really would. Final 6 wasn't even high on my personal list for most of my life. I'm a 7, 9, 10 type dude, and I don't disagree with nothing you said. That game was that impactful. So,
all right, it's through. All right, so before I get to this next matchup, I just want to say the Mario bracket is going to be hell for everything. It's going to be hell.
I believe it.
4 seed.
And now we in the Mario bracket.
No, we this is the last matchup of the cloud bracket. Because remember when we set up the Mario bracket ourselves, it was hell then.
Yeah, I remember.
Randomized.
Somehow it's still hell.
Still hell. Number 4 seed, last one in the cloud bracket. GTA Vice City, 5 seed, Undertale.
Ew.
Yeah.
I think we know what we're doing there, right? We don't even have to talk about that one. Right?
Yeah, I gotta go Vice City, unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah.
I love
peace, man.
No, but it
on to the to the Mario.
We ain't got to beat that one.
We ain't got to talk about that one.
Much respect to Undertale, though. I love that game.
Love the game.
Love
Elite
that
game.
Yeah.
Oh, the music is coming through my headphones. I'm sorry.
Oh, she just realized there wasn't no audio.
Yeah. She said, "Can you turn the music on?"
All right. Mario bracket. First matchup, 1 seed, Final Fantasy 7, 8 seed, Half-Life 2.
Stop playing with me.
Final Fantasy.
Oh my
Final
God.
Fantasy. I'm going Final Fantasy 7. Final Fantasy 7 changed my goddamn life, and I'm gonna
go. Is it a better
Final
game?
Fantasy? But
yeah,
you know what? Actually,
it a better game?
I'm gonna say yeah.
Is Final Fantasy 7 a better game?
Is
I'm
it
gonna say
better
you know
game?
what? I don't think so.
I think
Exactly.
Final Fantasy 7, for the time it came out and the genre that it is at least neck and neck.
For the time it came out,
Is it?
Dog,
Yo,
is it a better game?
Nah, because
right now?
I got half.
fuck that. Because listen,
I can't believe I said.
Listen, we can't do that if we're not going to put like Dread over, some of the later, like the earlier Metroids, or like, or another Smash
The
over Melee.
The only Metroid I would put Dread over is Fusion.
I wouldn't even put it over Fusion. But I feel like there's other games that I don't know why that was the first example I could think of, but this Half-Life 2
to my Samus standhood.
It backfired.
You know why I'll say Final Fantasy 7 is not better than Half-Life 2.
Because
it's not even the best Final Fantasy on its console.
I think 9 is a better game. I don't think anything is as special.
No. It's the most special Final Fantasy, probably of all of them.
The story,
it's not a better game than Half-Life 2.
It's not a better game. Half-Life 2 is probably one of the best games ever created.
That's one of the best first-person shooters
That's crazy.
to ever exist.
So is 7 is one of the best RPG, and I feel like it's cool to be like to dismiss the fact that the Materia system is one of my favorite combat systems in any Final Fantasy.
No, the Materia system is fire.
The customization you have in that shit,
and even now in the remake, it's still fire.
Everything you feel me? Like they didn't.
That lets you know it held up because they didn't really change it at all.
Much at all. That game is not hype. Like we like to just be like, oh, it's 7, it's fine. That's one of the best RPGs.
No, Final Fantasy 7 is one of the best RPGs ever, but
it's not a better game than Half-Life 2.
It's up there. It's an argument. It's an argument for that.
We arguing right now.
It's an older game than Half-Life 2. It's a different game than Half-Life 2.
I don't know.
Yeah, they both old as shit.
Yeah, they both old as hell. They came out around the same time, right?
It's close.
Like 3 years or something like that.
Yeah.
2, 3
like
years.
Same era, really.
Basically within a development cycle.
Half-Life 2 is incredible, don't get me wrong.
We also have to talk about Half-Life 2 is one of those games that like on the low ski is like a lot of niggas daddy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
absolutely.
That like we don't talk as much about
Gravity Gun, like
how influential it was because they
story
never Half-Life 3.
Yeah, that game is amazing. It's one of the first FPS I played.
Half-Life 2, everything.
Yeah.
And we talk about Final Fantasy 7 in that way. I didn't want to make it seem like.
Honestly, if we're talking about how
impactful
BioShock was narratively, Half-Life 2 came.
Half-Life 2 is
and not to mention niggas is still asking for Half-Life 3, knowing damn well we not getting it.
We never getting it.
I just haven't heard any argument that don't apply to Final Fantasy. But I'm not mad at Half-Life 2 either.
We got the remake.
Exactly, but
that's the point. It's like all of these arguments.
The Final Fantasy 7
so it kind of
remake
just goes back to what's just objectively the better game because they're kind of equal in any other category we want to.
And I don't think there's. I know I stood on my stance, but I don't think there's objectively a better one between the two. And I don't like which one's better. No, it's not. Like, nah, that shit is not objectively better than 7. 7 is old and an RPG, so it's kind of boring and shit. You know what I mean? But
7's not boring. I just think 7 has more flaws than Half-Life 2. That's all I'm really saying. Like, for as great as it is, I just think if we sat here and really broke both games down, there's more to nitpick about Final Fantasy 7. And you're splitting hairs. Like, I'm not saying it like way. Yeah, like they're both to me 10 out of 10 games, but if you have to say which 10 is more of a 10, which sounds weird, but that's what we have to do here because there's no ties. I just think when you start listing the flaws, Half-Life 2 is a little bit cleaner of a game.
I think that's
or
totally fair.
You just put the fucking hoodie on.
I mean, that's the thing.
All right, hold on. I'm about to get this goddamn hoodie. Fuck that. We ain't
What
doing
if
this
man
shit.
enough that
We ain't doing this shit.
Because this is Final Fantasy 7, and there's a lot of games Final Fantasy 7 might be able to beat.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
be worth
So
saving. It's
they
only a
need to get
minute.
up.
It'll be all right.
No, he right. Yeah, a minute.
Yeah, because it's still the first round. Yeah.
You start that goddamn timer.
All right, let's keep going. Put that hood up too.
Oh shit.
Damn, you told him put the hood on. Put
Damn,
your
put
hood
the hood
up.
This bitch gonna be
Put
so
your hood up.
All right, I'm with it.
All right, you got 45 seconds. You can make it.
I stay in this bitch the whole rest of the damn show for Final Fantasy 7. It's fine.
I respect it.
God damn it.
So how does that?
He
So
could
how
have
does
saved
that
himself.
work if they both move on?
If what? Oh no, if
Oh no, just so then have
go the whole
So I
like
just
his last 30 seconds. If he just like bitch out in the next 10, then he loses.
right. But
But
if it move on, Half-Life goes away then.
Yeah, Half-Life goes
Okay,
away.
I got you. Makes
bitch,
sense.
I might wear this to sleep just off the strength.
All right.
Got me
You
fucked
just
up.
need Cloud to
Man,
know.
just send somebody to his
Yes.
house. Like, go check on that nigga.
Yeah, right. Get that hoodie off him, man.
Man, I'm very, very surprised that you wasted your breath for 3.5 minutes when you could have just done this.
Listen,
All
man,
right.
it wasn't. I didn't even want it to go
He had
on.
to
I
get the
just-
argument on the record.
I ain't like how we was talking about my homie. You know what I mean? Like,
We wasn't talking bad about him. It's just not a better game.
Nah, he ain't just like
Hey,
us saying it's just
hey.
better. He ain't like that.
Yeah, I ain't like that.
Fuck
shit.
out
I
of
ain't
here,
gonna-
yo.
I respect
ain't gonna-
Like,
All
look,
right, so
that
Final
is-
Fantasy VII moves on. That's our first
that's our first
one
seed.
seed. That's our
There
first
we
one
go.
seed.
But that's our first one seed that didn't lose.
That's the
So
first
all
one.
3 one seeds
Love it.
lost. That's crazy.
All 3 of the other ones lost.
I mean,
That's
it's not
awesome.
that crazy because it was randomized, but it just sounds crazy.
Yeah, I was about to let Final Fantasy 7 get bumped out of the
first
cloud region.
Hey,
Nigga,
man.
yes, it's based on that matchup.
Appalling.
Half-Life 2 is that.
It's a
Yeah,
great
it's
game.
that-
It's a great game.
Sometimes it's just the matchup, man. Denver Nuggets, fucking Dallas Mavericks, 8 seed.
That-
Yeah.
Had a
That's
number.
facts.
It'd be like
That's
that.
facts.
All right, 2 seed. This one, I don't know. Kendall might have wanted to keep the hoodie. Yeah, he might hold the hoodie for this one. 2 seed, Hades. 7 seed, Symphony of the Night.
Oh my
Bitch.
god. Oh my god. What
This
the
is
fuck?
This is disgusting.
I would have to put on 2 hoodies, one for each game. Because like what
I don't like this.
what am I even voting for here? Dog?
I don't like this matchup at all.
Shit.
Jesus Christ.
I told you this was the bad.
This is ugly, yo. Hades
and
and Symphony. Oh my god.
with the one that changed games in the 90s versus the one that changed games like
Right.
a couple years
You
ago.
can't. We
know?
can't even necessarily just
Can't even say there's no impact.
back
that
cards
Hades
on the
had.
table.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nah, yeah. There's already Hades
They
likes.
They both shook some shit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
I'm
god.
I'm going Hades.
I think I'm gonna go Hades.
I don't think there's
think
a
I'm gonna go
game
Hades.
that's ever existed that has tied a narrative into a genre better than Hades. Because there was no narrative to roguelikes. Like it
Yeah.
was get your ass beat, come back,
Yeah.
try again.
Here's
Get
the
your ass
first
beat.
time
Yeah.
where
This was the first time the narrative actually
capable of-
tied in with it,
and to
where
keep
when
playing
you
it.
died,
and
yeah,
I
mattered.
think that's what makes it so special is the
It
fact
is.
that like when I first realized that like you die and the game is continuing, I'm like, wait,
Right.
wait. So
and it's still
That's
you
definitely-
didn't lose that genre.
and you know you're supposed to die because it's a roguelike, like
Right.
to die. But I'm just like, wait. So it made me feel like when I die, it's cool, and that was very encouraging. It's
Right.
like dying is not a failure. Dying is just continuing.
dying
the
is
narrative.
part of the game. Like
Yeah,
you almost have to die to get the full experience.
yeah, and that changed everything for me.
And then once you beat the game, there was still
And you-
more shit
And
afterwards.
and that's when I knew I was sitting on like one of the ones. It's like, oh
Right.
nah, they thought so much shit about that game through, and there were so many ways where that whole thing could have fell apart, but they didn't
Yeah.
let it. And I okay, and I thought
Yeah.
about how I saw behind the scenes about the making of that game, and they talked about how influential the early access period was because so much stuff got changed.
Right.
during the early access. Like it was one of the times where like an open beta really like did what it was supposed to do for
Yeah.
it.
Hades wasn't in the game. I don't think when it first hit early access. Like
I don't
they,
think so.
yeah, they had to add a lot
Yeah,
of
they
shit.
changed so much about it. Like they were like the people who gave feedback for that game, like were so passionate about it and really gave them everything they needed to turn it into what it was. So,
Yeah.
shout out for the game to the gamers for once, because y'all did that when it came to Hades. But yeah, I think Hades objectively, as classic as Symphony of the Night is, I feel like in 15 years, I can see us saying that about Hades. I can see it.
Yeah, I agree with
And
that.
I know
Especially
that
with the
was an
sequel
Elden
coming out.
Ring argument, honestly. Like, that's why I was like, I understand your argument. Like, I could see 2 decades from now, the old niggas talking about how fire Elden Ring was, or still firing that shit up.
Right.
I
Right.
mean, and doing
100%.
a run through. So,
And you know what? And yeah, that's exactly like with these two games. You already know I was the person that like went up for Symphony of the Night when it first got on the list, but I have to put nostalgia to the side and admit to myself that I feel very similarly about both games, and that leaves me with just like the okay, which ones is like got the polish? Which Hades is more modern, so like just by default, it's got like all the bells and whistles that a modern game has. So I would not be mad at that.
Not to mention that the gameplay experience is completely different depending on what weapon you pick, which is very hard to do.
That is, yeah. Okay,
yeah, I
Hades
think
it
that's
is.
actually what kind of nudges it over as a better game, where it's like the gameplay, even though you're doing the same thing in every run, it feels so different.
Yeah, it's
in a
got
way
that.
that like it's like it pushed that genre forward, because like it's not a Metroidvania game, but it can feel like one at times a little bit, or like it's derivative of that genre, like
Yeah,
roguelike, kind of like a
roguelites.
cousin of Metroidvania
Yeah,
game.
exactly. Yep,
And it's
yep.
like it pushes the combat in that type of game so far forward.
Yeah, 100%, 100% agree with that.
I think that's what kind of gives it the nod, if you're just saying which game is better.
All right. 3-6. 3 seed, Arkham Asylum, 6 seed, Resident Evil 4.
Wow. You know what? This is the first time I've been like, that's actually a pretty good matchup for where I'm at.
That's a matchup that makes sense.
That's the first good
Yeah.
matchup and not the one that made me like feel like I was punched in the chest.
Right.
Right.
I'm going Arkham Asylum.
And I'm gonna probably go up for Resident Evil. I'm not gonna hold you.
Down to me, huh?
Yeah.
I'll make y'all cases though.
And for me, it's largely like the impact of Resident Evil 4, like the amount that it changed shit, like it birthed like the dead spaces and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like that whole survival horror changed a bit when Resident Evil 4 came out. Not to mention the fact that it's such a solid ass game. I haven't played the remake yet, but I've heard nothing but good things. So from what I understand, it holds up, you know.
All right. So my argument for Arkham Asylum, outside of the fact that it is an insanely good representation of the animated series, it pioneered an entire combat system that you still see in superhero games today, including Spider-Man and the much anticipated Spider-Man 2.
Mm-hmm.
It has been remade and remastered and released, and they haven't had to change the gameplay up a bit. That's the one ding that I have on Resident Evil 4 is the OG game is a little clunky if you go back and play it.
Yeah.
They changed it up for the remake and it plays much smoother. But the combat style they were still working on, like getting away from the tank controls. But the whole you can't shoot while you move added to the atmosphere of it. Playing it now doesn't feel as good. So I think Arkham Asylum holds up better to the OG version without having to deal with a remake fixing things. But more than anything, I think what Arkham Asylum was able to accomplish in the genre, like we didn't see a lot of really good superhero games prior to that. There's a couple. I mean, you could go back to Spider-Man 2 on the GameCube, PS2 era. That's cool, but you look back and that didn't really hold up like that.
It walks so Spider-Man PS4 can run.
Yeah. Arkham Asylum changed all of that shit. Like, that's just, to me, story-wise, gameplay-wise, combat, that's just a better game to me.
Let's see. On the one side, you have Resident Evil 4, which I feel like saved that entire franchise from hell. So that's a big deal.
Yeah.
It was a huge shift for the genre because it completely flipped what Resident Evil was.
Yeah, absolutely.
For the better. So the impact is undeniable, and it's a game that for a very long time, probably until Part 7, was recognized as probably the best Resident Evil game. Now it's more of a debate because the last two have been pretty good. But on the other side, you have Arkham Asylum, which really killed the narrative that superhero video games couldn't be good. It literally also picked up a whole genre and put it on his back.
Yeah.
And they haven't really looked back since then. Like most superhero games since then have been pretty damn good. But it's largely due to the fact that they're kind of all building on iterations of what Arkham Asylum did.
Right. Unless you're the Guardians of the Galaxy and shit.
Well, yeah, they kind of went a whole different way, which actually
still fire.
Yeah, but just different.
Yeah.
But that was also a Telltale game, so that explains why they went that way, because that's how their games are. But like they solved the main problem, which is like how do you deal with combat in a superhero game when superheroes really are fighting people who can't touch them most of the game.
Right. They did.
And they finally stopped making the little goons be able. They treated them like they should. Yo, these niggas can't fuck with you. Beat their ass. Yep. And then once they let you just beat their ass, the game
counter combo.
Yep. The challenge is how many asses can you beat in this time frame?
Can you cook before you fuck up on the ass with it?
Yep.
But if I have to say what's the better game, I would probably go Arkham Asylum simply because I think the tiebreaker is the story in Arkham Asylum was really good. It was a well-written game on top of being a well-built game. Yeah, and like Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil has never had the strongest narrative, but in a survival horror game, you don't need it. So it's no knock on the game, but if I'm looking for something to figure out what gets the nod over what, that's like a strong reason you could go. Because everything else is kind of like equal. Like, I mean, it had a tighter combat system too, like Peagle said. They kind of rectified that in the remake, but you know, it still doesn't make it better. Just makes it. You know, they both for their time looked very, very good. Like RE4 looked amazing when it came out, and the remake looks incredible. Arkham Asylum looks great, so that's fine. You know, like they both gave you a lot of bang for your buck, a lot of shit to do. But it's just, I think the story edges out Arkham Asylum, and it just had a better antagonist. I mean, any game with the Joker is going to be, you know.
We didn't even touch on the stealth aspects. That shit changed stealth gaming too.
It did. It did. And it made you feel like, Batman for real with all the gadgets and the detective.
That's what I loved. Yeah.
Like, it really just nailed being Batman.
Yep.
And that's when I think these devs realize that the main thing they need to get right in superhero games is they have to make you feel like
the fucking superhero.
Yeah, like
yeah.
Instead of just making a superhero avatar and it's a game just like any other one, like remember like Batman Forever on Genesis, and it was just a beat 'em up except for
it's
Batman
the Streets of Rage with a Batman.
Yeah, it was the Streets of Rage. Yeah, so you didn't feel like Batman. So like that was always what they tried to do, and it wasn't until Arkham Asylum when they realized like, hey man, we got to make Batman Batman.
Yeah.
This shit'll work out. And that's the formula now. Hey, make Spider-Man Spider-Man. Build the game around the spider shit. Stupid. Like,
obviously.
If it's right, people will feel like Spider-Man. Even when they got to drop down whooping nigga ass, it's still going to feel like Spider-Man, because as soon as I'm done whooping ass, guess what I'm going to do? Grab a light pole and fly the fuck out of here.
Get out.
Facts.
Can't do that unless you're Spider-Man. So, like, yeah, for that reason, I'll go Arkham Asylum, but like Resident Evil 4 is one of them ones for sure.
Yeah, hey man.
Right. Last matchup of the first round, and we can get into the rapid fire, getting through it. Right. 4 seed. All right, look. All right, I'm picking first on this one. I'm gonna pick first on this one. All 4 seed, Mass Effect 2. 5 seed, Ocarina of Time.
Oh my Jesus!
God, what the fuck?
I'm taking Mass Effect 2.
What you got, Kendall? 'Cause I know my answer.
Shit. That man, Tony, I don't know how the fuck you just ripped the Band-Aid off like that, because I don't.
Because it was I ain't rip the fucking band.
Yeah.
Look, man, y'all, Ocarina of Time is my personal GOAT, but is it a better game than Mass Effect 2? No, I can't do that.
That is what we're doing.
I can't do
That is
that.
what we're doing. That is what we're doing.
I got Mass Effect.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Fuck.
Like, we got this platform because we don't fucking lie to y'all about these games. I'm not finna lie to y'all about this motherfucking game.
I can't lie. I can't lie and say
not.
Ocarina. Ocarina of Time is not even. It's not even the second best Link game.
It's not, but damn it.
At this point.
Oh my god.
It might not be the third best one, but I don't want to argue with nobody. But
you're not wrong. This not.
This is coming
2
from
and 3.
somebody who
You can flip 2 and 3
had
between
Ocarina
that and Majora's Mask.
I played through that game like 9 times.
Yeah, I played through last
several years. So like, I'm by no means a Ocarina of Time hater, but I've always felt like my favorite Link game, and I haven't played really the new ones, but Ocarina of Time might be the last game I played really like. But I always thought Link to the Past was my favorite Zelda game.
Well, I kind of see that you like more of a Super Nintendo, like that style of games more so.
Yeah, I mean, I just Super Nintendo. I don't know. It just, I like
too many classics, man.
Yeah,
the game it meant to me at that time in my life is why I hold so many SNES games dear to me. I think what it is, and plus it's like the best. Well, arguably, it's one of the 2 best consoles ever for RPGs and like adventure games.
Yeah,
which are my favorite genres.
That in the PlayStation.
It's like that and PlayStation 1. So like that's why a lot of the best games ever for me come from those 2 consoles, because it's where a lot of the game, like it was the golden era for that style of game.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, and I like JRPGs the most. So you already know it, because with Super Nintendo and PlayStation 1, it had all of the joints.
Hell yeah, literally.
Kind of stopped putting out as many JRPGs, and the Western RPGs got popular, like Mass Effect and Oblivion, all of that.
Yeah,
but I don't too much go up for those, which is why Mass Effect is the only one you ever hear me championing. Mostly because the narrative is fucking one of a kind. Even if you don't, they stuck the landing necessarily. It don't matter, because the journey to get there was so great.
But they stuck the landing for 2.
Yeah, we talking about we talking about 2.
When we got the 3, that was different. But no, 2 was top to bottom, beginning to end, perfect.
And I'm not gonna.
2 really should have just been 3.
And I'd have been perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, like
I can't argue against this. Y'all right. I can't say these words, but y'all right.
I can't look. If I can't lie about it, you damn sure can't. I wrote a whole motherfucking article about how Ocarina of Time is a GOAT to me.
Yeah, like, and I'm more of a Majora's Mask nigga anyway, so
Well, time has kind of wrote that narrative. Like over the years, more people have realized that Majora's Mask was objectively the better game, but Ocarina of Time was
the more impactful.
The one everybody the one everybody for.
I can make arguments for both sides, but we are just about at an hour and a half, so I don't want.
All right. Well, we got 2 rounds to go. This should be quicker though, because this one is this is gut. We ain't got to explain nothing because we already explained the ones.
Explanation's been made.
Yeah.
Unless we really disagree and got really. But
and in which case, 2 of us still got to save. One of us is not going to use that save, but it's whatever.
Yeah, but definitely not.
All right, back up to the Link region. 8 seed, Last of Us. 6 seed, Chrono Trigger.
I wish y'all could see my face right now.
Okay, that's what I thought.
It's Chrono.
We have to go. Yeah, we had to get into it. All right, next 4 seed, God of War 2018. 7 seed, Portal 2. Yeah, it's going straight down. So
yes. Yeah. See, the thing is, we talking about this the lightning round. No, this is the real shit. This is the semifinals, nigga. Like,
but see, that's why it's the lightning round, because you gotta think about it. If you got an argument to make that motherfucker blue.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Portal 2.
I like Ragnarok better anyway. But Portal 2 is kind of perfect. Like Portal 2 is everything it's supposed to be.
All right.
Yeah.
I was gonna go God of War, but it don't matter. We got our 2. All right, 8 seed. Next, we are in the Chrono region. 8 seed, Marvel vs. Capcom 2. 3 seed, NFL 2K5. I'm going NFL 2K5.
Well, shit. There we go. I ain't got even both.
See, this works out perfectly for me because I consider 2K5 to be a top 10 game of all time. So it's in the Elite 8. I'm happy. All right, next 4 seed Metal Gear Solid 3, 7 seed Super Smash Brothers Melee. I'm pretty sure we all know where
I got
that's
Metal Gear.
going.
Yeah, we gotta go Metal Gear. Yeah.
Okay.
Shout out Melee.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
sure, for sure.
Yeah. You made it. You made it somewhere. So.
Yeah.
It made top 16, right?
There you go.
Yeah. They top 16. All right, I'm pretty sure I'm lifting weight on this one, and I'm fine with that. 8 seed. We're in the cloud region now. 8 seed Super Metroid. 3 seed Final Fantasy 6.
Oh yeah. You might as well lift that shit up, my boy.
Lifting. All right. Somebody give me
Because I
give me a
got Final
timer for
Fantasy.
110. Yeah, give me a timer for 110 because I ain't letting Simons go out like that.
All right. Okay. All
right. Kendall, you
Got
hit
the
the timer.
timer?
I don't want
Yeah,
anybody to say I'm biased, so let me know when to go.
Hold on.
And we can talk
go.
through this, by the way.
That means Final Fantasy
Go
gone.
ahead.
Oh no.
Hey, yeah,
That's his arm.
I'll fight through it
Yep.
because as long as the weight doesn't pop up in the frame, I'm good.
Yeah,
so I
as
can
long
drop
as
a little bit.
Either way, we good.
Yeah,
Staring too.
yeah. Nah, I can't. Nah, I can't do it.
Yes.
I mean, Final Fantasy 3 is just an incredible game. I suggest anybody who hasn't had the pleasure of playing it find a way to play it.
Hey,
But,
there's more than emulators.
the
and all
ways
that,
are out there. I don't want to
Yeah.
advocate for nothing. I shouldn't advocate for it, but the ways are out there.
Facts.
Nah, fuck that, because they fucking up with game preservation. Nah, we advocating for that
Yeah,
shit.
you're right.
Everybody
No.
Go get
The
you a fucking emulator. Get you around.
legal means. You
game.
dump your games that you actually own. All right. We a professional outlet over here.
We all own the games. Yeah, we all own the game.
Yeah,
absolutely,
that we're
right?
talking about.
Like
Of
3
course.
times. But
yeah,
but
I can't let Samus go out.
Totally
like that,
understand.
Yeah.
Seeing on Super Metroid, like it's
because
probably
again, Super Metroid is a top 10 game to me,
Nintendo
so I
games
can't.
ever.
I can't have
you
it
gotta
go
make
out
sure
16.
it gets to the Elite 8.
Yeah.
All right. 110.
Good.
All right, you did
Good.
it. Yes, sir.
All right.
Golly. Okay.
For
I'm not
reference,
mad.
I haven't worked out once since I've been in this apartment. I've been here since June. So
I respect it. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I was very torn about that one, and I might have swayed Super Metroid, but I went ahead and let you do the challenge just because I wanted to. I chose chaos.
Hey, look, I chose that. I told you before I listed the
He
names.
told us like I'm gonna just lift this weight because I know what time it is.
Yeah,
it is what it is. Yeah.
Again, we're not gonna lie to y'all, but I'm gonna find a way to circumvent the lie.
Right, at least once.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
So we got one more matchup, right?
One more matchup for this bracket. Yeah. 4 seed GTA Vice City, 7 seed Destiny 2.
Ooh.
Yikes.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeesh. I'm personally going to go Vice City just because I don't have the tie to Destiny 2 like that. So it's one of y'all two. Yeah.
But see, that's the thing because we both got ties to both, and
yeah.
Oh, damn. And Vice City is my favorite GTA game, but is it better than Destiny 2? And I don't want to make this decision and not be objective because, like, I literally have
I can make an objective
argument.
I can make an objective argument for Destiny 2 only because we base what the best GTA game is based on the story. The gameplay has remained the same, with the exception of 5. Switching characters and shit. Other than that, the gameplay is essentially the same all the way through. The differentiation in all the games is the story.
Very true.
Destiny 2 changed, like, I mean, you consider what Bungie did with Halo for gunplay. They took that shit to another level with Destiny 2, with the amount of guns, the different types of guns. I mean, there's glaives now, bow and arrow. It's all tight. Nothing's weak. I mean, there's guns that you wouldn't pick over other ones, but nothing's weak. You can make it all work.
Yeah, objectively, I can go Destiny 2 and not feel like I'm being unfair because, like, even if you strip everything away from Destiny that makes it Destiny at the bare bones, it's still a fucking incredible shooter when it comes to gunplay.
Well, shit, I'm outvoted anyway.
All right, Mario region. Yeah, we can just go ahead and kick this one through. Final Fantasy 7 versus Arkham Asylum. Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah, sorry, Batman.
we ain't gotta. Yeah, we ain't gotta talk about that one.
Yeah. Thank you, Kendall, for wearing that damn hoodie. You did a good service today.
Oh yeah, because
we told you it might could get something else out of here.
Yeah.
Turn that down, baby.
Yep.
All right, 4 seed Mass Effect 2, 2 seed Hades.
I got Mass Effect though.
That's the hell bracket, man.
I have to go Mass Effect.
I got Mass Effect,
but all right, we're in agreement there.
Hades had a great run.
Yeah, shout out to Hades.
All right,
Goddamn.
back up to the Link region. 6 seed, Chrono Trigger. 7 seed, Portal 2. How perfect is Portal 2 now, motherfucker?
Oh my damn. I mean, y'all know what I got.
Still pretty perfect. But
I'll do what y'all want to do.
I ain't putting Portal 2 over Chrono Trigger. I just can't.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
I
just
wanted to see how he was gonna feel about this.
He just wanted to see if I would say the words.
I just wanted to see if he was gonna sweat that one.
I definitely was gonna say him. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
All right. Next one again. I'm pretty sure we don't have to talk about this one. 3 seed NFL 2K5, 4 seed Metal Gear Solid 3.
Oh yeah, I got Metal
Look,
Gear.
top 10.
Yeah.
I'm
This
good.
where the run stops.
Yeah,
Yep.
Everybody's run
But
stop.
it itself very well though. I'm not mad at it.
Yes, sir.
My turn.
All right.
I try.
So one half of our Final Four set. Other side, 8 seed Super Metroid, 7 seed Destiny 2. I'm going Super Metroid.
I think I actually go Super Metroid.
I'm
okay with Destiny 2 going home now.
Golly. Made it far though.
Right.
Yeah, farther than I thought it would. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
It got some decent
Top
matchups.
10 game.
Yeah, it got some decent matchups. I know that's gonna piss people off, but whatever.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Hey, capital bean.
Yeah.
All right.
How we
Last of the Elite 8. 1 seed Final Fantasy 7, 4 seed Mass Effect 2. Battle
Shit.
RPGs. And
Oh
I'm
my
taking Mass
God.
Effect
What a
2.
matchup.
I'm taking Mass Effect 2. That's a better
I
game.
gotta think. Nah, I got Mass Effect. I'm sorry.
That's a better game.
I'm outvoted. Yeah, it's all good. I wouldn't argue that Mass Effect is worse or better. They're
Right,
not better
so, like,
than Final Fantasy.
That's a hell of a matchup.
I might
though.
have to take that one to the party when we done. Like, yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough
That niggas
one.
discussed
I would
that
love to know what to think of that one. I think I know.
All
That
right.
one skew Mass Effect though. But
Our Final
gotta put
Four
on
is
the
set,
track.
and it's kind of nuts.
Yeah.
6 seed Chrono Trigger, 4 seed Metal Gear Solid 3.
I got Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, that's surprising.
Yeah.
Shit, man.
Did you put on the charger?
Damn. Metal Gear Solid is special, bro. So is Chrono Trigger.
Chrono Trigger was a 16-bit RPG with 16 fucking endings. And like everything you know about like magic
And time
systems
travel.
and party systems
And tag
and
team
all of that
attacks.
stuff,
And
Yeah.
existential crisis.
Yeah.
all of that started with Chrono Trigger, man. Like it's just too
I can't-
impactful, and it's to this day still one of the best playing RPGs.
And a
Like,
frog with a
That's facts.
sword. And a villain who switched sides and joined you.
and that
That's
fucking
facts.
soundtrack.
I could keep
like,
going.
Yeah.
Did a lot, man.
I'll give it to it. I'll give it to Chrono Trigger.
All right, Chrono Trigger in the finals.
Yeah,
Other side, Super Metroid versus Mass Effect 2.
that's not even nice to just
Jesus
put up there.
Christ.
I'm going Super Metroid again.
Yeah, I got Mass Effect.
All right, so now I gotta make a decision.
Do I have to talk you into the building on this one before you get going? You need some help.
Man,
'Cause I'll
listen.
get my Paul Heyman on.
He go walk him out.
Hey,
Look, I get my Paul Heyman on. I'll talk a motherfucker in the build.
I'm not gonna lie, man. My first instinct was to go Super Metroid, just because I play the game like once a year. Like, yeah, I gotta go Super Metroid. God,
That put Mass Effect for top 4.
yeah,
top 4.
that fits.
I got it in my top 5.
All right. So this
you go.
is basically where we're at, and I think all three of us pretty much agree that the Super Nintendo has like GOAT tier
Yeah,
catalog.
Super
So-
absolutely.
So I've always had it as the top console ever as far as games.
It was up there.
And
It was my favorite.
basically
for-
here
PlayStation
with
1 number 2, and then I let
Super
niggas talk about-
Nintendo final. Chrono
Yep.
Trigger versus Super Metroid.
This whole tournament, I'm not gonna lie.
I got to
you.
think about this. This
Yeah,
one
I don't want to just say Chrono Trigger. I want to be fair.
Yeah,
because
like this is the
probably-
first time.
Like I want to say Chrono Trigger, and I'm probably going to, but the one argument I'm having against Chrono Trigger in my own brain is that the impact argument. Like, because there's two things that work against Chrono Trigger when it comes to its impact. One, well, not even two, just one. all the impact Chrono Trigger has had has been silent. Nobody acknowledges it. Like, well, people who played the game and know it acknowledge it.
That's one thing. It's one of those like people who know.
Yeah, if you
Yeah,
know, you know.
it's like, yeah, it's a if you know thing. And I feel like when something's truly impactful, everybody knows that how influential it is. But like, I don't think people really be knowing how much. Like, people don't even realize the first game to ever have New Game Plus was Chrono Trigger.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Like
I didn't
50
realize.
gamers that
Yeah.
I don't even know how
Chrono Trigger pioneered a lot of stuff that people don't give it credit for.
that people don't.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't think it's even that they don't give it credit. I just think they don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I didn't know that.
And it's like, if nobody knows how great you are you great? And I mean, of course it's great, but it's like, has it really had the impact that it should based on what it's actually did?
Right.
And it makes me wonder, like, why does it not get the credit
It's
like Super
because
Metroid?
of the genres, and because turn-based RPGs has always been and will always be a very niche thing.
Yeah,
Like,
but what I mean is like Final Fantasy 3 or 6 gets its credit. You know what I mean? And like other turn-based are like 7 gets its credit. Like there's other turn-based RPGs that get their credit for being like what they were, but it's like for some reason everybody like Chrono Trigger's the forgotten goat, and it's weird.
I think it's because Final Fantasy 6 and 7 did that. Like, they're the reason that the RPGs kind of jumped into the main, like what we were talking about with Elden Ring. Like, people didn't. RPG was like, oh, you're really nerdy, huh? Like
Chrono Trigger was the Elden Ring. Not the Elden Ring. It was like
Bloodborne.
Yeah,
like yeah.
7 was like the Elden Ring, where it's like it's a great thing y'all been missing out on. Maybe
now it's for everyone
to try it.
Yep.
But the ones that came before it. So in this analogy, Chrono Trigger would be like one of the Dark Souls.
Right, but I would honestly give it Bloodborne because it's not a part of it. It's its own thing. You know what I mean? It's easy.
Chrono Trigger does exist. Yeah, it exists on its own. And I mean, it got a sequel, but the sequel got a remake before the actual fucking
Chrono
game.
Cross.
They put Chrono Trigger on the DS, and I bought it then.
Yeah,
but Chrono Cross was not half the game. Trigger was. Yeah, and it was a good game. I bought it. I remember I had to import it from like Japan because like it didn't even come out here for a while, so I just bought it online and had it shipped to my dorm room. I remember that shit. I was in college. But
Super Metroid, I mean, that you talking about pioneering like not just a genre, but a type of gamer. Like a specific type of gamer exists because of Super Metroid.
A game
that speedrunning community is nuts.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's the thing I say about Super Metroid is that it's infinitely like pick up and play replayable. Like, that shit is just so. It's got that gameplay loop that just constantly works. Like,
and like I said, it's open ended. You could beat that game without certain shit. You could skip to certain parts.
Yeah, there's a lot more. But to be fair, you can do the same in Chrono Trigger.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Especially on a New Game Plus, because you can go to the end of the game whenever. You can literally go to the end of the game as soon as it starts with nothing. There is a lot more player agency in Chrono Trigger than people realize, because they tend to think of it when you do the first playthrough and you got to go through the whole game. But like, it really, because like I said, it was the first game to offer a New Game Plus. It really revolutionized RPGs in that way. But again, it doesn't get the credit because nobody seems to even know that that's where it started. I wonder what game people think started New Game Plus.
Yeah, I've never even thought
probably
about it.
Something from like the mid 2000s.
Yeah.
Or up. Yeah. Like
I might ask that question on like Twitter. Like, what's the first game you remember with New Game Plus? And see how many people say Chrono Trigger. That's interesting.
Yeah.
But like, I can't not say Chrono Trigger.
I was about to say.
But like, I wouldn't. I can't be mad if Super Metroid won, because Super Metroid.
I gotta go with Super Metroid. I do think that's the better game.
Mad at that.
I can't.
Yeah, I'm not tripping.
God damn.
But it's really on Kindle though.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Outside of Impact, I just think that's a better game. Boss fights, like all of that. It's just. How many times you pick up Chrono Trigger a year?
See, that's not it though. That's not it. how
I'm
impactful.
just trying to.
Yeah, I get
I
it.
ain't just trying to make it split. I ain't
I
mad
get
at
it.
it.
I get it. Yeah.
I probably played too. Last time I played Chrono Trigger was when I was in Texas. So that was probably like
Shit, that wasn't that long ago.
It's
yeah,
like
a few years ago.
with any
I
good
played
RPG.
it on I played it on the emulator.
Yeah, but like, see, that's the thing. Like, I can be like, yeah, I'll pick up Super Metroid, like Mario. I just picked it up and played it and go. When I play Chrono Trigger or Final Fantasy 7 or Final Fantasy 10, I remember, oh yeah, I played that in a couple years ago. Like, there's like a moment for me. Like, I'm in Chrono Trigger mode. I'm going back to it every time. The shit is so impactful every time. Whereas Super Metroid feels good every time, I think Chrono Trigger hits hard every time, and it's just a timeless fucking game, man. But goddamn,
I think that is the difference to me. Like,
yeah.
I think it's the same thing for me. Like, if I go back and play Super Metroid, I'll be playing it like, damn, it's still fire.
Right.
But it don't bring those memories flooding back of like the first time I played it.
As soon as I hear
it's
Secret of the Forest, bro, like as soon as that shit kicks in, like I get chills every single time, bro.
Yeah, like when I play Chrono Trigger,
you drop a single tear.
Right. But when I play Chrono Trigger, it's like as I go through the game, I can remember everything I was doing the first time I went through it. Like I can remember how old I was. I can remember the room I was in. I can remember who was sitting there watching me play. I can remember how I felt, which is crazy because like you think of how old that game is. I like the feelings come back. It's weird. It's almost weird. It's like it's a portal into my childhood.
Yep. See, I'm like that with Super Metroid. I mean, I'm like that with both
right,
of them.
I was about to say that's
Super
probably
Metroid.
how you feel with Super Metroid. Yeah. Like you probably like. There's one part of Super Metroid that make me feel like that. It's no two. It's how you'll find in the game those little animals that show you how to do shit.
Yeah, the wall jumping joints.
Yeah, the wall jump and the heat run.
Mm-hmm.
When I get to those two parts, I get that feeling.
Me too, actually.
Super Metroid is the only game I played immediately after beating it. I've never played a game back immediately after beating it. I always let that shit breathe. I beat it and went right back.
It is that type of game. Man, I'm gonna be real. My heart saying Chrono Trigger. I gotta go Chrono Trigger. I gotta do it. Yeah. God damn it! I'm sorry, Metroid. But
Top
goddamn.
All right, so we have a winner.
Yes,
Chrono Trigger. Makes it 6 seed.
It felt like the winner to me like a couple rounds ago. I'm not gonna lie. I couldn't get it out of my head. Like Chrono Trigger is just one of my favorite experiences ever.
I mean,
look, we both said 2-3 weeks ago, man. Like that's the greatest RPG ever to us.
Yeah, he knows. I think it's the best game ever created. Like it was no way. It's gonna be hard to get me. Super Metroid is a game like I would have accepted. Yeah. Like I wouldn't have kept trying to argue with y'all, but a lot of them games, I'd have just kept arguing. Y'all had to take me off the podcast. Like,
it'd have been a 3-hour podcast.
Nah, he ain't lying. He ain't lying.
I believe it, man. But listen, we got there.
We got there, and this nigga didn't have to say Tua had a noodle arm. Ain't that a bitch?
Man, I was at one point. I was just gonna be like, he can't though. Just admit it. Like I was just gonna start
going. Just start fucking with him. you know that slant route was a little slow.
Come on now. But
no, Waddle had to reach back. Fuck out of here. Lucky fast.
So, we pushed this episode to its brink, man. We got all the way through it. And I respect the fact that we did breeze through some of them hard choices. Like we had hard conversations real fast just now, but our winner for the first ever Eclipse Theory Games tournament is Chrono Trigger. Definitely want to hear what you guys think, man. Hit us up on Twitter about your opinions on the matchups that we had, the voting that we did. I would like to hear that because we had some choices here, man. Like this was a crazy bracket.
Please, if you got a problem with something, I said at me.
You know what I'm saying? Facts.
Come holler at me. Facts. Come holler at me.
I'm with it.
I ain't got that brought up in a long
y'all
time.
niggas is out there. I'll argue with y'all all day.
Facts. All day.
It's whatever.
Yep.
Now it's gonna be Temecula over Chrono Trigger.
I kept it a little cute for the podcast, like
Facts.
Y'all niggas.
Same. I came out of character a little bit for Final Fantasy 7, but that was the only one. But yeah, man.
But I still kept it cool.
Facts, always. But definitely hit us up, man. We want to hear from you guys. We are not going to push the episode too much longer. But follow us on Twitter at Eclipse Theory and on Instagram at Eclipse.theory. Make sure you like and subscribe. Leave us those ratings, thumbs up. Give us that feedback that we need from you guys to know what we're doing right and what we could be doing better. Because we want to make this a show for you guys. But until next time, man, I am Kendall. This has been Tony and Jerz. And make sure you guys keep gaming. Take care.